While you're watching Business 360, a survey by professional services firm Aon highlights that salaries in India are expected to increase by 10.3% on an average in 2023. This is slightly lower compared to the actual increase of 10.6% last year. The survey is based on inputs from 1,400 organizations across 44 sectors and also highlights that India continues to have the highest salary increases in the region and among major world economies like the US and UK. However, attrition numbers in India remain near two-decade highs. There's been an increase in involuntary attrition on account of recent layoffs. Joining me now is Roopank Chaudhary, Partner and Chief Commercial Officer of India and South Asia at Aon. Roopank, thanks very much for joining us. Well, this looks better than one was expecting, given that there are still a fair number of uncertainties that we're dealing with, global and some domestic factors as well.
Hi, Shereen. Thank you for having me here. Yes, that's right. At 10.3%, I think the numbers continue to be double-digit for the second year running, and it is a little higher than what we thought it would be. I think a bunch of factors are at play here. I think some of the sectors that are strongly linked to the India growth story, focused on domestic consumption, like manufacturing, real estate, FMCG, pharma, have done really well and have given sizable hikes as compared to previous years. And while the increments on some of the traditional sectors, traditionally high-paying sectors like IT, financial services, e-commerce, are a little lower than last year, but they're still in high double-digit because the attrition numbers continue to be very, very high in those sectors. So I think it's a bunch of factors at play here. One is the overall business sentiment, which is coming out very positive, very high attrition, and some of the sectors which have struggled to pay in the last few years, which are largely linked to our domestic spending and consumption, are showing a pretty rosy picture on both the hiring as well as on the increment side.
You know, that's interesting that you talk about the kind of increments that even the tech sector is seeing, because globally what we are seeing is a significant number of jobs being cut across the tech sector. Here there have been cases where onboarding of new recruits has either been delayed or, the onboarding terms have been changed at much lower salaries. How are you reading what's happening on the tech side of things specifically at this point in time in India?
So if you were to break up the tech sector, if you look at tech products, right, the numbers are high, but they have been higher in the past, right? And they continue to still be at a fairly reasonably positive outlook. If you look at IT services, the numbers have fallen a little bit as compared to last year. So within technology also, we are seeing different factors at play. And again, the whole domestic versus the global phenomena of how aligned these sectors are at play. Attrition continues to be very, very high. And as long as attrition is very high in these sectors, because other sectors continue to shop from these sectors, the numbers end up still going up. So within the tech services sector, we are seeing a bit of a dichotomy, but we are seeing healthy increments still being given. However, they are not as high as what we had seen in 2018, 2019, 2020.
Yes, that is when the war for talent in the tech sector was at its peak. But Roopank, I also want to understand what you are seeing now across the hospitality, the aviation sectors as well. Because these were sectors that were impacted the most on account of COVID. And now we're seeing a revival and the demand for talent returning to these sectors. In fact, many are arguing that there isn't enough by way of people who want to join. What are you seeing there in terms of retention, in terms of being able to make this a lot more attractive for people to stay on?
So I think that's an important point, right? Because a lot of these sectors which were impacted adversely during the COVID years have actually sprung back and are hiring. So the hiring outlook for these sectors has gone up. The business outlook for these sectors have gone up. And as a result, salary increments also are higher than what we had seen in the last 2 years. And the projection numbers for this year is higher than for previous years, which is not what we are seeing for the globally aligned sectors. So be it automotive, be it manufacturing, be it FMCG, be it retail, be it telecom, be it cement, be it hospitality. All of these sectors are close to the double-digit numbers now. And these were all struggling in the 5-6% category during the difficult COVID years. So clearly, there is a spurt. There is a strong demand for talent out here. A lot of these sectors are hiring talent from the IT sector, from the sectors which are not doing so well, because demand for digital and tech talent is across. It's in the traditional sectors as well. So, but clearly this is a big rebound and a big resurgence we have seen, which wasn't the case in the last few years. And this is certainly putting pressure on the overall number that we are seeing for India Inc.
Roopank, before I let you go, so on balance, the data and the trends do seem to suggest that we are still in a positive environment as far as the job market goes. At least I'm talking about the formal job market.
Yes, if you were to actually look at the estimates, the hiring estimates are going up. The business, so I mean, we track three broad parameters when we do the study, right? We ask companies about their business outlook, their hiring outlook, and their increment outlook. And all three are looking fairly good. When we're talking about moderate growth, not very high growth, but moderate growth, we are seeing almost 50-60% of the companies talking about a positive sentiment in each of these three sectors. But of course, there are other factors at play. But the fact is that as long as attrition is going to be high and the demand and supply of talent remains a concern, and inflation is also going to be high, I think we can expect fair amount of increments coming across in this year as well.
All right, so a double-digit increment, that is the expectation as per the Aon survey for this year. Roopank, many thanks for joining us here on CNBC-TV18. Appreciate your time and we wish you the very best of luck. That's it then on this edition of Business 360. Thanks very much for watching. Do stay tuned.